with Jessica Lee. I'm here with Nick King, who is the VP of Customer Experience at Cisco, or Customer Experience Marketing in particular, which is a very big organization now. And it's CX is the third important initiative at Cisco. So Nick, welcome to the show. Thank you for sharing what's happening at Cisco with us and talking a bit more about some of the best practices that you're seeing.
Yeah, it's great to be here, Jessica. Thank you for having me.
I know that this is an organization that is growing massively and is a very significant part of how you're trying to help your clients transform towards the CX experience and how Cisco can help them do that. So I wanted to ask if you can explain a bit about the whole initiative. What is the strategy? What is the mission and some of the metrics that you're seeing in the work you've done recently?
Yeah, for us, customer experience is really key across how we think about how we engage our customers and our partners. And what we focus in specifically in marketing is the messaging, product marketing, cross-platform integration, and how we scale that through our field and partners globally. And our KPIs are very simple. In a lot of ways, we focus on what is the adoption of our customers' specific outcomes based on technology platforms. So we look for progression for those customers. Our marketing objectives are around contacts, engaged contacts, leads, opportunities, pipeline, and bookings. And overall, we look at message pickup of how customers are engaging Cisco as a whole and different technologies that exist as part of that. From a strategy perspective, we really think about customer experience being as a whole across Cisco and looking at how we can engage our customers through what their goals are and apply that back to the technology we're selling them and delivering with them. And then finally, CX carries a revenue goal that we track around, are we delivering value for our customers? And the simple logic is if we're delivering value for our customers, then we see revenue increase as well.
Yeah, that's a initiative that I find fascinating. Is marketing before has been very much on the, building awareness and getting the leads. But you're saying CX is actually very much tied to the revenue figures. In the end, you're held accountable for making a difference. And you're working with sales too. So maybe you can talk about how does that work now that you've got CX also talking with customers and then you have sales folks talking with customers. How do they work together as a team?
Yeah, the trick is very much upfront. You define a standard life cycle that you want to engage customers with. We work with customers and partners to define that. And then as you've defined it, it gets more predictable to make sure you're doing the right marketing at the right time. You understand customers' requirements at the right time. And you're really able to help get the sellers at the right place at the right time as well. And what also happens is we hide a lot of the complexity that involves inside of Cisco by being very specific there, and that allows our customers to get a better experience overall as well. And so it really takes a very customer-centric lens as to how they're engaging multiple audiences or people from Cisco or our partners. And that consistency makes it easier for customers. They very much wake up in the morning and have their own problems to solve. When we can predict what those problems are, or at least communicate in their language, it sort of helps them, debug or get through all the complexity in the ecosystem.
With the COVID-19 happening, with people working at home, companies are scrambling to try to scale their operations. The network part is so critical, right? Collaboration tools like WebEx is helping people to stay connected at the human level, even though it is virtual. Can you share with us what kind of demand you're seeing and how CX is stepping up to be a significant player in this new ecosystem?
Yeah, I think it goes back to, when you're thinking about customers' needs and you have an understanding and empathy for the customer, we naturally had offers that made sense for customers to take advantage of. And a lot of what we're focused on as customer experience is making those offers accessible, but also making it so that, the outcomes are very specific and in some cases accelerated as we've gone through COVID-19. It's also changed the way that we engage customers as a whole. I think we've all seen our inboxes just fill with emails talking about different things we can be doing. We've taken a very targeted approach and engaging customers that ask to be engaged, looking at ways that we can accelerate value for those customers and for our partners as well. So a very humble and pragmatic approach to saying, okay, we've got the technology, we've got the relationships. How do we really support our customers and partners in the best way possible? And I think this sets up for a number of us how we think about what does the new normal look like, or what's going to happen in the future, and how do we start moving towards a realm of where their own the customer experience of their customers is also impacted by these changes. And so we're making available a number of our offers that have been available for some time, but just providing that insight and capability for our own customers to take advantage of. And really, as I said, taking a very empathetic and humble approach to how we engage the community.
I think that a lot of companies talk about CX, and they know it's an important aspect of the strategy and in competing, but a lot of them actually do need help in drafting what is that strategy and how do you actually implement and execute to make it successful. Cisco, you're going through this journey yourself and you're doing it. So do you then take all that learning, also help your clients go through that CX transformation? Yeah,
a lot of how we engage our partners has shifted a lot the last couple of years. And so we publish how we think about the customer's lifecycle. We publish how we see the different technology journeys. We provide insights on new business and renewal businesses and how to shift the way partners think of the way they deliver technology and how they monetize that technology. And so in some ways, we're providing an open book on how we've done our customer experience transformation, the key metrics that are important in the programs that go behind it. So not only do our customers get that experience directly with us, but also our partners get that experience and deliver that onto customers. And some of our customers are also picking up that information, applying to their own customer experience practices. The physics of customer experience are reasonably consistent, defining the life cycle of your customer, understanding the gates for each stage of a customer's journey, and then optimizing your investments to give the customer the best possible experience through each of those stages. And I think the other key element is ensuring you constantly focus on the value that you're transferring to customers, whether it be technology being delivered, business outcomes, efficiencies in operations, or changing business models.
Yeah, and I think that with the movement towards software as a service in the networking space, even separating the hardware from the software means that there's a lot more recurring revenue. And recurring revenue is mainly the driver behind why there are just so many more customer success teams, right? And customer experience is very much in helping ensuring that recurring revenue for Cisco. Yeah,
I think this is part of the. I think a lot of SaaS businesses saw the value in reducing churn, and even telco and service provider before that. If you just take it from a marketing lens, the cost of acquisition now is reasonably high when you get into large tech deployments, and it's very hard to also get an engagement. So if you have that relationship, if you take what you're spending in marketing to acquire new customers, in some ways you can get happier customers and better results by applying that funding throughout the entire life cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And so in some ways we think of it as, define a customer for life versus trying to acquire and always fill top of funnel, and then think through the logical next step for a customer and begin to predict what might be valuable to them, and do it in a way where they're able to use that portfolio to their advantage. And it just becomes this wonderful self-fulfilling prophecy that if your customers are delivering their customers great customer experience and we're doing the same for our customers, then the results are net positive.
Maybe you can talk to us about one particular case study. I think Rakuten is one of them that has a pretty good story.
Yeah, Rakuten is a great example of, we had a customer with a really bold idea about building a fully virtualized 4G, 5G network. And we really came to the table in that one and sat down with Rakuten and explored all the options. And we're really thinking through, like, we knew how to deliver a fully virtualized 5G infrastructure, but we also recognized that to be a new entrant into the Japanese telco market required a lot of out-of-the-box thinking. And so everything from how tests are delivered to the way that the infrastructure is designed, built, and delivered, even through how it scales, has been a an alliance between both Rakuten and Cisco, but also a number of third-party providers. And it results in the fastest delivery of a new service provider that I'm aware of, and a relationship where we're very much close with Rakuten and how that works. But it also is testament to if you put that customer experience first, both Rakuten and their customers, then we're able to build very large, robust solutions very, very quickly. And it's exciting to see Rakuten go live with that very recently. It's good to see them begin to talk about that model outside of Japan as well. And all of that is fueled from this understanding of customer experience. And so I think we're going to see a lot more of these types of examples where companies have bold ideas about how they're going to transform their customers' experience, and then ask back to technology vendors like us to be part of that journey.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're just delivering boxes or technology or services, that's not always enough to drive these large transformations. It really does take that complete model to make this work.
Yeah, I mean, it takes very strategic consulting service. It's not just selling a box or selling a software, but helping them craft that strategy and execution, the change management that comes with it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's something of that scale. We had to really think about how do we handle the 4G to 5G shift? How do we do it in a way that allowed Rakuten to scale as fast as it needs to get live in Japan requires an incredibly fast rollout. And also, the way that businesses are thinking through technology delivery has changed a lot too. So, they have to build continuity into how they see these deliveries so that they can rapidly make changes and deliver new technology. Whereas previously these larger network rollouts required multiple years of planning, multiple years of delivery. In this case, it's 18 to 24 months of from inception to delivery.
How big is your CX department now?
I don't have the latest count, but it's relatively large.
Yeah.
We really do have these franchises that are well established. And so what that means is we get to take advantage of all the different teams and partners and organizations around us. So it means we don't have to have these single function organizations. So I feel like as an organization, we're able to tap into multiple countries, different thought leaders, different divisions inside of Cisco relatively easily. And that's a huge advantage we have, but also something that we treat with a lot of respect in how we engage our customers, but also our partners. And just thinking through okay, if we can do this way, can we package up that insight, that approach, and then give it to partners? So they don't have to have the same organizational size or different complexities. We can just distill that down and hand them that package. Mm-hmm. And that's a big part of the philosophy, right? It's not about us as Cisco, having these huge teams, but okay, how do we take all of that and make it easily consumable by our customers and partners? And one thing we've been doing is really thinking about all the different insights we've garnered over the last 30 years. So we take all those algorithms and learning and different enablement materials and beginning to dynamically put those together and provide them to customers. So our customers and partners get the advantage of our scale without necessarily having to go and invest in similar large organizations.
So is there a platform for them to get customized materials, send it out, kind of like a managed marketing engine? So
there's two things. One is there is Cisco has a marketing velocity program which partners can take advantage of. Mm. And then we also have a portfolio specifically around customer experience where they can take advantage of a set of portals which bring all this together and deliver what we call collaborative intelligence, which is really all of those components packaged up and aligned to this life cycle we see our customers delivering. And then the last thing we have is a certification and specialization program so that partners and marketers at partners and different companies can pick that technology up, pick those insights up, and rapidly deliver them.
Now, I want to touch on your career growth and get your career advancement tips, because I know you came from a data center world experience, building your own business and all that. So you have a lot of experience to share with us. And you've taken on this role and just been so successful at something that's fairly new at Cisco. I wanted to get your tips, for the audience out there who are interested in the CX space and taking on a leadership position.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've been fortunate to be at the right place, the right time, and sort of have gravitated towards the complex problems. My first tip is that marketers intuitively have both the data and the understanding of customers, which can enable customer experience. And so if you take customer experience and think about customers' requirements and what can be done, a marketer can have a very elegant conversation with a sales stakeholder about how marketing can enable this experience and reduce churn, and have a data-driven conversation as to the value for it. I think the other thing is all of us that are looking at, complicated spaces or markets where there's been multiple years of innovation I usually sit back and say, how do we simplify? How do we make this more consumable? And I think as a marketer, you have to always be thinking, okay, how do I make this into the most concise, simple, easy to understand message as possible? And so another piece of advice is look for complex problems that are asking for elegant solutions. And lean into the heritage of these different organizations because there's a reason why customers are buying your products, and there's a reason why customers want to have that experience. As for career growth, a lot of times it comes down to what I'd say like running towards the unknown, and having a bit of an entrepreneurial mindset as to how to solve problems. You don't always have to do things the same way, and then again, like if there's a simple way to solve for it that way. But the final thing I would say is just always make sure you communicate what you're doing in the voice of your stakeholders, whether it be customers, partners, or internal. And I know that sounds really obvious, but I think sometimes as marketers, we can lose focus of how we can articulate what we can change in the business. So if you're able to identify how marketing can help, build that business case, and have the confidence to go and talk to sales, partners, different organizations in engineering to really help drive the agenda of our customers.
Excellent. What would you say are some of the challenges that you face right now?
I think the pieces that are always complex are the same things most marketers deal with. Whenever you're going through a transformation, you've still got to run the business and transform the business, and the macro factors are always shifting around. So you have to, in some ways, predict where you make bets and where you can, maybe reduce some investment in funding. And so what I've learned is that, we're able to reasonably predict where that stuff is happening, but there's an element of change management has to stay aligned with that as well. And, who could have predicted what was happening this year? Yeah. And so a lot of the challenges are like, okay, what are the tough trade-offs we have to make in order to, continue to deliver for our customers, prepare for things we have to deliver from 6 months from now. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the variables are up in the air. It comes back down to just trusting the data and making sure that, as you build the plans, you constantly revalidate, those assumptions and try and bring the organization as best you can along with all of those decisions, because many things are happening, every other day at this point as we pivot for what's coming towards us.
Thank you so much, Nick, for being on the show and talking about customer experience marketing from your point of view. I appreciate you sharing the best practices and the tips with us. Yeah, it was wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for having me, and stay safe. You too. There you have it. Take it up with Jessica Lee, Nick King from Cisco. Okay, stop.